Here's one on the right. We're passing one on the left.
Tom France keeps a running count.
And there's another one just over here on the left, too.
He says dairy farms have taken over his farming community in the San Joaquin Valley.
That's 10 within what I call smelling distance of my home.
10 dairies in just the last decade, and we're not talking mom and pop operations.
These are milk factories. We went from 0 cows to about 60,000 cows within about 5 miles of where I live.
Why is that a problem? You might have guessed. Cow manure.
Medium-sized dairy here is milking 3,000 cows every day, 3 times a day. It means they have the waste stream of a city of 500,000 people.
But unlike a city, most dairies don't treat their waste. They dump it into open lagoons and just let it evaporate.
And this waste stream is just rotting in these giant lagoons.
It's not just the smell from these open effluent pits, it's also the methane gas that they put off. And apparently there's quite a bit of it because 15% of California's greenhouse gas emissions come from dairies.
They're incredibly potent climate pollutants.
Ryan McCarthy is with the California Air Resources Board.
Really tackling and addressing the way that dairies manage their manure would represent one of the most significant climate programs we have in the state.
But McCarthy admits it's been a hard sell. For instance, the state's offering tens of millions of dollars in subsidies for dairies to install so-called digesters, giant tarps that cover manure pits and turn the methane into energy. But most dairies aren't even applying for the grants.
You look elsewhere across the country and in Europe, and there's thousands and thousands of digesters. So this is not a new technology, but it is sort of a new management practice for California's dairy farmers.
The California dairy industry has also managed to dodge, at least for now, the requirements of a landmark climate bill the governor signed into law this year that calls for reducing emissions of short-lived climate pollutants like methane by 40% by the year 2030. But the dairy industry on the last day of the session added language that exempts it until on or after 2024. Even then, dairies would only have to comply if the regulations are economically feasible. If not, the state would have to reduce the goal in the strategy for the dairy and livestock sectors.
It gives the industry some time.
Anya Radaba is with the dairy industry group Western United Dairymen.
We are losing our California dairy farms due in large part to regulatory burdens. So adding a new regulatory framework is not something that we can do overnight.
She says the state so far is offering solutions that aren't feasible, such as subsidies for digesters.
The grant money only works if there's infrastructure there to move the gas. So right now, it is not something that has been widely looked at.
As a result, she says many dairies are planning to leave California. It's all very frustrating to farmers like Tom France.
They'll just go to another state where they're not regulated and still emit the same quantity of greenhouse gases.
The only real solution, he says, smaller dairies and fewer cows.
The bottom line is we can't afford to consume as much dairy products in our diet if it's going to overheat the planet.
In the Central Valley, Alan Martin, KPIX 5.